In this video, I'd like to go over several essential tips about Japan trip that you might want to know before you come to Japan. So first, let's start from the what to pack for your suitcases. So something you might want to make sure to bring is a daily care product. Daily care product is like a contact lenses and skincare product and hair care products. In case you forget to pack what you have to bring to Japan, you still can get in Japan. Especially if you're in a city, it's easy to get those things. However, Japan's environment is a little different. The products and things you find might be different from your country. After the long flight and coming to, especially from faraway country to Japan, you have time difference and there's a jet lag. You might not want to looking around the stores for essential things. And another thing you might want to make sure is the medicine and supplement that you are taking daily. But this is something you might want to be careful is there's a different regulations in Japan. Make sure you check the regulation of Japan. Most of the case, personal use medicine are allowed up to 30 days of personal use. There is a website of the Ministry of Health you can check as soon as you decide your trip. And I put this in the description too. And probably the something occupy most of your suitcase is a clothes. So first, let's see if there are any kind of taboos about clothing or fashion in Japan. In most of the cases, Japan rarely has any taboos about clothes. The only thing is you cannot actually walk around or do jogging without shirt. You might want to put a tank top at least, no matter how small it is. That should be okay. So something probably you might wonder is when you go to temple or shrines, can you go in tank top or shorts? For Japanese temple or shrines, usually it's okay to go in the style you like. The weather in Japan is very similar to what it is in the east coast of the United States, between New York and Washington DC or around there. In case you travel to Japan in winter, and if you go to the mountain regions or northern Japan, you might want to make sure to bring a warm jacket like down jacket and warm inner and boots. If you are visiting in summer, it's much easier and lighter, very humid and hot. So you might want to make sure bring kind of sunblock and sunscreens and sunglasses, light clothes, but still make sure that you bring the extra jacket. Some stores can be really cold. And if you forget what to bring, you can go to different stores like Uniqlo. During your travel in Japan, you might walk so much more than you are in daily life. So packing the walkable shoes or comfortable shoes that you are used to is a good idea. For all of those, it tends to be really big packing. And it's almost impossible to pack small. Travel guide says packing light is an important tips and it makes your trip much easier. So it's a good idea to get rid of something you probably don't use. Also, you might want to consider using laundry machine in case you stay in Japan for long. But it is difficult to pack light because you have to pack light. You cannot bring your favorite clothes and favorite boots. Your mood is low because you cannot dress as you want. Then it's better to bring what you like to wear. Also, if you can only sleep with certain pillows and you have to leave it to pack light, it doesn't make sense. So you might want to pack those things too. Still, it's important to pack light, but sometimes it's difficult. Then what if you have a big luggage? And let's see how you can handle luggage in Japan. Big suitcases might not be allowed on the sightseeing spots or local buses. In any stations in Tokyo or Japan, you can find coin lockers. There is a small one and a big one, but the number of the coin lockers that you can fit the big suitcases are very limited. And there's a luggage storage place, and you can search with this site called Ekubo, and this one is good because you can make reservation. So the best idea is actually you send to the next destination. The delivery service of the luggage for the foreign tourists is very developed recently. There is a delivery service between airport and the hotel to hotel. In this case, most of the case you have to kind of send the luggage by previous day, and next day you will find your suitcase in your hotel, or sometimes the nice hotel brings that into your room already. It is costly and it can cost like 2,000 to 3,000 yen per suitcase, but it's very convenient that you can travel around Japan without any suitcases. Always when you use delivery, make sure you keep your important belongings with you and never put a passport or money in it. And in case you don't use the delivery service, another kind of choice is choose a hotel near the station. Choosing hotel is a really important part of your travel. So let me go over some essential tips about hotels in Japan. Just like any other country, you find lots of different choices in Japan, like international brand, Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt. Especially in Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, you see those international brands. And another thing is that Japanese brands kind of established brand hotels. Tokyo, Imperial, Okura, Palace, New Otani is a kind of luxury Japanese brand hotel. And also there are kind of Keio Plaza and Prince Hotel. Business hotels in Japan is a type of the hotel that there's a small room for businessmen. It's usually made with a one bed for a single person. The merit of the business hotel is it's usually very close to the station. Business hotels are very competitive, so usually it's very clean and it's very well functioned with fridge, electric kettle in the compact room. And usually they have laundry machine, so that's also a good idea. Only thing is the room size can be very small. The business hotel room can be about 10 square meters, 107 square feet. And this is 1/3 size of the typical motel room in the United States. If you are not used to it, you might feel a little bit of claustrophobia. Something you might want to consider is like recently increasing the kind of premium business hotel. Usually these hotels have same function as business hotel, well-functioned room, but has a little more larger rooms. Many rooms are made for 2 people. The major brand like Richmond, Mitsui Garden, Daiwa Roynet, instead Solaria. If you ask for the full function of the hotel, you might want to avoid business hotels. So, and in case you use the public transportation, you might want to make sure that the hotel is near the train station. And there are lots of other choices like a capsule hotel, youth hostel, guest houses. And another thing, something characteristic about Japan is a traditional Japanese inn called ryokan. And I have several videos, so please take a look at if you have time. But it's usually comes with 2 meals, and sometimes, most of the case, it comes with a public bath. And in Japanese hotel, you might find a washing toilet. When you push the wrong button, unless you are sitting on the chair, it doesn't usually work. The water doesn't come out like on your head, so do not worry about it. Let me explain a little bit about it. And there are lots of different types that you can wash your kind of butt or kind of a little bit front of that, and kind of wide angle and softer version and different things. And usually flushing button is here. It really depends. Some toilet has a machine next to you on the chair. So Japanese electric plug is type A. So if you are from United States, Canada, most of the case you can use what you're using in your daily life. And in case you are from a country with a different types of the adapter, you can purchase on the Amazon too, like plug like this. And there are lots of different things available. Next one is the phone and internet of Japan. Usually when you arrive Japan, your phone doesn't work because there's no data plan in Japan. So to keep your phone stay connected to the internet, there are several things you can consider. And first one is the international data plan. This can be really depends on which country you are from and what carrier you use. Depending on the country, you might not have much choice. But the good part of this international data plan is you don't have to do much setting. You can use immediately after you arrive Japan. And you can keep your phone number. The con is it can be very pricey, depends on your phone company. And this is again really depends on your country what choice you have. And another thing is rental Wi-Fi. The rental Wi-Fi is the portable device that you can borrow and you can share within your group. The good part is you don't need to do any setting on your phone and you can use just other Wi-Fi. And also you can share it with your group or you can use it with many different devices. The con is you have to carry around the device and you have to also charge the device. And what I hear often is that that is a little bit too much work for some people. In another case is a physical SIM card that you can put in your phone and you put a little bit pin and take it out. Usually SIM card is a really reasonable choice. It's a little bit risky that you might lose original tips that you have for your phone. But the thing is you lose your phone number while you are putting another SIM card. So recently, and this might be a little bit getting a little bit dated choice because recently most people use eSIM. And from here is a sponsored section by Klook. eSIM is very easy to use. You can download with QR code on your phone. You don't need a physical SIM card, so no worry to lose your SIM card or having trouble opening the phone. Also, it's usually very reasonable comparing with other choices. When you look for the eSIM card, a great site to take a look at is Klook.com. Or you can also see the app of Klook. On the eSIM page, you can choose the length of your stay, data package, and the price comes up. You get QR code upon booking, and you can do setting on your phone after you arrive in Japan. Klook is a popular travel agency site in Asia, and it's getting big in Japan too. And Klook is not just for these eSIMs. You can look for other eSIM cards, rail passes, and attraction tickets, and everything you need in Japan trip. You can look for in this one site. For example, if you click your favorite destination in Japan, the attractions and choices what you have in the destination comes up. And you can also learn what kind of choice you have in your trip. If you are from the United States, you can use the code Kenchan 5 off, and you can get $10 off for the most of the services and products of Klook. For the first order, when your total order is $100 or more. I put the description below. And once your phone is connected to the internet, there are several apps that you might want to get during your travel in Japan. And the first thing is everyone knows the map apps like Google Map or Apple's Map. Especially for Google Map, if you put your current location to the destination, lots of different choices, the buses and trains comes up. And another thing you might want to make sure to have is a Google Translate. In Japan, almost everything is in Japanese. So you might have a little bit lost in translation moment. But if you have Google Translate app, you can use the Google Lens in it. And you can just put kind of everywhere on the signs or kind of package of the products, and everything will be translated to your language. In case of there's something disaster or kind of big earthquake happens in Japan during your travel, something you might want to be careful is fake news. It's great to know some trustable site, and that can be the NERF disaster prevention site. And this is an app and that you can get notification before the earthquake comes, which is only like 10 seconds before. You can see if there's a tsunami warning, if you are near the coast. And other sites for news is the NHK, the Japanese broadcast company, has a multilingual link. I put all of these in the description too. So along with other train companies' site like JR East, JR West, it's good to bookmark these sites just in case. And the fifth essential in Japan is transportation. In Japan, train system is a little bit complicated. There are lots of different companies, private railways. So something good to know is that you can get IC card. It's called Suica in Tokyo and Ikoka in Osaka area. If you get one in Fukuoka, you can use it in Tokyo too. If you get one in Osaka, you can use it in Sapporo too. For IC card, you can also get in Apple Pay too. You go to the Apple Wallet and add transit card, you can add Suica. And public transportation is very convenient, but in case you have mobility issue or you cannot walk long distance, or when you travel in midsummer in the heat, you may want to think of using taxi. To get a taxi, there's a taxi app. Like taxi app is like a Go, Uber. Having this app will be very convenient when you travel in Japan. Japan essential number 6 is language. I mentioned a little bit about earlier, but getting Google Translate is very important. And in Japan, most of the station and everything has English recently. So you might not have actually much problem, and you can get by without speaking any language. But it will be nice and more fun if you speak a little bit phrases, like 5 phrases of Japan. So let me go over quickly. Probably the most used one is a thank you, which is ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。Repeat after me. ありがとうございます。And excuse me です。すいません。Repeat after me. すいません。And the next one is hello is こんにちは。こんにちは。ね、so repeat after me. こんにちは。And good morning. おはようございます。おはようございます。おはようございます。And when you want to ask where things are, you can say, where is something? For example, where is the toilet? And let's say, トイレはどこですか? トイレはどこですか? When you order called soba, and when you also want to say ざるそば please, you can say ざるそばお願いします. When you ask something, and when you kind of finish the conversation, you can also say あ、お願いします. あ、お願いします. And dining is a very important part during your travel. So let's go over some essential tips that you may want to know for the dining experience. In Japan, breakfast is not something you eat outside. Most people use at home. So you might not see many stores that you can eat breakfast. So I made a video about where to eat breakfast in Tokyo, but a good idea is to go into some chain restaurant that such as like a beef bowl shop have lots of different variety of the Japanese style breakfast. If you go to the coffee shop, they might have some sandwiches. So also like family restaurant is open for the breakfast time. So it might be also a good idea to book a hotel room with a breakfast plan in case you usually eat good amount of breakfast. The lunch usually starts at 11 or 11:30. So many stores open from 11 or 11:30. If you go to very popular store that you might have to like a lineup, it's better to go early and be the first customer of the day. Even some established restaurants that are expensive at night and feel a little bit intimidating to go or too expensive to go, sometimes lunchtime you can get a plate for the reasonable price. Lunch is a kind of good opportunity to try that restaurant. And for the dinner, some shops like in tourist area might close a little bit early, like 7 or 8. So when you try to eat finally, they're almost closing the store. So in that case, you might want to come out to the town where the Japanese people go after work. And there are several things you might want to know about dining in Japan. So if you go to quick ramen shop, like a noodle stand, you might want to not stay too long after you eat. It's okay to eat slow. I'm a very slow eater, and it's okay to eat really slowly, and you don't have to rush about it. But after you finish your meal, and you might want to avoid staying too long, like checking your phone or talking with your friends, especially if someone waiting behind you. And something you might visit for night dinner is izakaya. And izakaya is like a Japanese style bar, and something a little bit common misunderstanding between Japanese society and international travelers are izakaya usually gives you a little small plate called otoshi, and they charge for it. And usually you have no choice. I hear some traveler from foreign country, it's getting common to kind of reject it. No, I don't need otoshi. But it's actually, I don't know, it's very difficult to choose the right word, but it's just not. But if you reject otoshi, you probably want to choose as a family restaurant or different style restaurant because that is part of culture, and some bars are operating considering the price of the otoshi. Usually it's a great place to have a drink and eat lots of food. When you go to izakaya, the price can be a little bit pricey. It's not something you order one plate and one drink. Some places are like that, but many izakaya are made more like for stay for like 2 hours, 3 hours, and slowly eat with the beer. So it might be a little bit get expensive as a result. Usually like a 4,000, 5,000 yen per person. So it will be like more than $30 per person. When you travel in Japan, you don't see much sign of the vegan or gluten-free options. There are some vegan choices like a vegan ramen and vegan hamburger. It's still not something common. You might want to make sure with the store certain ingredients is not included in the product. It's also a good idea to go to like a supermarket or convenience store and purchase. So in that case, you can use a Google Lens and check the ingredients. And in Japan, you don't need to leave a tip. So in some culture, especially United States, it might be almost mandatory to pay the tip. But in Japan, you don't have to leave tip, and sometimes you cannot leave tip. Some store might have a little bit kind of accounting problem. So when you go to some popular spot of the sightseeing, you might need reservation. So that is something you might want to check at least a month before. For example, Shibuya Sky, Tokyo Skytree, Team Lab, they need reservation. And in case you visit there on that day, if it's busy, you cannot even enter the site. And Shibuya Sky is a very popular attraction, and for the sunset hours, it's sold out a month before. So they start to sell the ticket a month before, but it sells out the ticket on that day. So if you like to go to the exact time during the sunset time, or a little bit earlier than that, you might want to make sure that you book a month before. And another thing to be careful for the sightseeing is Mondays. Many museums and gardens are closed on Mondays. I live in Tokyo and I still make mistakes, and I always end up going on Monday to these places. When the holiday is actually on Monday, they are open and close Tuesday instead. And when you do some research about where to go, lots of other good YouTube sites, of course. But I also have some videos, so you kindly click like button to this video and also check some other video too. The thing you always want to pay attention is the restroom. And most of the station has a restroom inside the gate and not outside the gate. Before you leave the station, you might want to make sure that you look for the sign of the toilet and go to the restroom. And in Japan, convenience store is also working as a rest stop, and they even have the big sign of the restroom. But in city center, it might be a little difficult to use convenience store as a restroom. It depends on the store. So when you need a little more cleanliness, you might want to see the coffee shop or department stores or shopping malls. Usually they are clean, and in Japan, restroom is usually free and no charge. So actually, Japan is not a difficult place to look for restroom, but you always want to make sure to go if you find, instead of waiting until the last minute. Japanese money is Japanese yen, and you can get Japanese yen cash at the bank or currency shops in your country or after your arrival. You can find it in the airport or in the city. For most of the places, you can use credit card in Japan, but still, it's always convenient to have a cash of Japanese yen. Another way to get the cash is using the ATM of the 7-Eleven. The 7 Bank is always in the 7-Eleven store, or sometimes you see in the stations too. And this is a convenient ATM that you can get Japanese yen cash with your card, either cash card or credit card. For credit card, it might cost for the kind of interest rate, so please be careful when you use to cashing. In Japan, there's a sales tax of 10%. Some foods are 8%, but mostly 10%. Usually, any stores has a price of before tax and after tax price written, and usually after tax price is written very small under. So if you are cost-conscious travelers, please make sure to check the after tax price. In case you purchase more than 5,000 yen a day on the one store, you can use duty-free. And duty-free's condition is you have your passport and show passport, and you don't open that product until after you leave Japan. And you purchase more than 5,000 yen on that one store. Drugstore or department stores, they have the duty-free counter. So if you go to that counter, it's easy. In case you are in trouble and you like to call police, the police number is 110 on the emergency call. But if it's not that emergency, and for example, when you lose your passport or wallet, or you lost something, or when you don't know the direction, Japanese city has a little small police box called koban, like this one in Asakusa. Here there's always 1 or 2 police. And for example, if you lose your passport or wallet, you might want to go to the police box and make a kind of police report. So when someone bring it to the other police, you will get contacted by police. Let's see the case of the medical emergency that you don't feel good or you have some pain somewhere. So there are 3 stages. And first is the case that it's not that urgent and probably you might want to find pharmacy first. In that case, you can go to some pharmacy in town. And there are some major drug stores that you see, like Matsumoto Kiyoshi, Tomo's. So in the US, it's more like a kind of Walgreens, CVS. Japanese drugstore usually carry lots of snack. And the next case is it's a little bit serious and you have to find a hospital, but not as urgent as looking for ambulance. In that case, you might want to make sure to call your insurance company, maybe let the hotel know that what is going on. So they might be able to provide some information for you. In case you need some medical information service like looking for hospital, you can call this number and they might tell you which hospital to go or how you can solve this situation. And this is again the case. Calling ambulance is too much. If it's more emergency, it's time to call ambulance. The ambulance number is 119. They ask you if it's for fire or medical emergency, and you can say medical emergency, which is QQ. You can ask for the English assistant. Calling ambulance in foreign countries is a really big thing, and kind of intimidating. So hopefully nothing like this happened to you. In this kind of case, it's very important to have travel insurance. Travel insurance comes with credit card in many cases, but you might want to make sure that it works in Japan or in foreign countries. And that is all for the Japan Trip Essentials. Thank you for watching. Have a great trip to Japan. Have a great week until the next video.